thing we have to fear is fear itself.
The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning.
Welcome to the Common Sense Practical Prepper Podcast, where prepping doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. Coming to you from a well-defended off-grid compound high in the mountains. Coming to you from his Florida room in Richmond, Virginia. Neither off-grid nor well-defended, unless you count his chickens and cats. Here is your host, Keith.
Everybody, this is Keith, and welcome back to the Common Sense Practical Prepper Podcast, January the 23rd, 2026. The winter storm is fast approaching central Virginia, the Great Plains, Oklahoma, Texas. That area has already seen the start of the storm, and everything that I have listened to and watched, this is going to be catastrophic when it comes to the amount of freezing rain and ice and the amount of folks that are going to be without power for an extended period of time. And I spoke about this in the last podcast. I'm not too worried about the snow. I'm not too worried about losing power. Obviously, I wish I didn't, but we're going to. But the thing that's concerning to me is on Monday, the low is 13 and the high is 34. Tuesday, the low is 6. Wednesday, 11. Thursday, 11. Friday and Saturday, 5 degrees. The high, it is not going to get above freezing, at least for the next 7 to 10 days. That's the part that really concerns me. I'm more worried about the bitter cold in conjunction with losing power and keeping the pipes from freezing. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve, and if I have to break those out, I will. But for the most part, I'm as prepared as I am going to get. Tomorrow, I'm going to go out and fill up the Jeep, fill up my last gas can, and actually fill up a 5-gallon container that I have set aside for kerosene. I have a large, I guess they're called like torpedo heaters. It runs off kerosene. I don't know how many, 20,000 BTU or something like that. I used it several years ago under the house to make sure the pipes became frozen. So I thawed the pipes before they actually burst. Now, since then, I had gone down and insulated the pipe, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. The foundation vents are closed. The crawl space vents are closed. So that should not be that big of a problem. Without the power, the house, both interior and exterior, is pretty much going to reach the ambient temperature outside in short order. And therefore, underneath the house will also start to get just as cold. That's what I'm worried about. Now, last time I did it, I took the little torpedo heater, had it under my deck where the crawl space door is, and I had it, everything was vented to the outside. The heater was actually underneath my deck, but it was able to blow enough warm air under the house. And I was able to keep it warm enough till the power came back on, and then that just kind of took care of itself. So my fridge has been out for a few weeks. I had a new fridge that was scheduled to be delivered Monday, and now it's going to be delivered tomorrow between 7:30 and 11:30, which is great because I'll get my new working fridge just in time for the power to go out. So they're going to install it. We'll plug it in, make sure it gets cold, make sure the ice maker works. And I don't think I'm going to put any food in it because the power's just going to go out. I'll be using my 12-volt IceCo fridge, which I've been using for the last week and a half, and it's working just fine. Plus, it's going to be cold enough that my deck and my entire backyard will be a big-ass refrigerator. So if I have to move anything out of my chest freezer in the garage, which I probably might not have to, depending on how long the power's out. But if I have to, then I'll just move it to the outdoor fridge/cooler on the deck. So it's going to be interesting. Snow starting here in central Virginia Saturday about 6 or 7 p.m., about 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6 inches. And then early morning Sunday, like 7, 8, 9 a.m. is when the sleet starts, which is fine. Sleet is better than the icing that we're going to get probably starting around noon or 2 is when the ice comes in. The freezing rain, that's when we're going to lose power. I know I mentioned before that a lot of local counties, local jurisdictions, cities, and towns have their own emergency management text line set up. And I just received a couple messages about a half hour ago from my local county administration. Pending storm, cold weather, give a couple checklists. And really, we're 24 hours from the weather hitting. So if you haven't got your stuff together by now, you need to do it. On the way home from work today, I went by a store that sells propane. It's kind of like a satellite store. Their main hub is outside the city where all the big propane tanks are. They have showrooms, gas grills and gas stoves and gas appliances in their showroom. Well, they have these little satellite offices all over the city where you can look at a smaller version of the showroom, I guess. Plus, you can get your propane tanks filled there. The little ones, the big ones, you have an RV, that sort of thing. I was going down the road and I saw all of these cars on the shoulder of the road. And I'm thinking, is there an accident? What is going on? As I get closer to this, the satellite propane store, there were probably 150 people standing in line. The parking lot was a mess. The parking lot's very small. Cars were parked all different directions, a complete disaster. And I bet you 125, 150 people in line wrapped around the building, wrapped around the parking lot, everybody with their little 20-pound cylinders wanting to get them filled. Now, yesterday when I went to Home Depot on the way home from work, I bought their last 3 propane cylinders. I did an exchange, and then I purchased 2 brand new ones, and they were out after that. Not sure if they got any back in late last night or today. Probably not, with the line that I saw at the local propane store, and I'm sure the gas stations and the 7-Elevens, they only carry 6 or 8 of those canisters to exchange or to purchase. So I assume they've been out for quite some time. Stopped by the grocery store, stopped by Kroger just to grab 1 or 2 things. There was no milk, there was no bread, some lunch meat, but the store was picked over. So again, I'm as prepared as I'm going to get, and it's just kind of one of those come what may. I know I mentioned the other day that I was going to be on the Prepper Broadcasting Network with James, and that went very well. I posted the link on my Twitter account, and I will copy the link and put it in the show notes for this podcast. So please, if you get a chance, check out that link. It was a very cool conversation, very chill conversation. There were some people in chat. We answered a few questions, but it's a very chill conversation on how best to prepare for bad winter weather here in the Richmond area. Snow removal is non-existent, and there's reasons for that. That was explained in the podcast, as well as the guest episode I did with James the other night. So it was a real chill episode. We just talked about things, answered a few questions. It was a lot of fun. He's been trying to get me on one of their podcasts for quite some time, and just scheduling life and work just seems to get in the way of all the fun stuff. So it was nice. A couple nights ago, obviously, it was nice to finally be able to get on there and chit chat with James and the folks that were listening and asking some questions. So don't forget, I'm doing the giveaway. I've received several emails. I'm going to go ahead and run this out a couple more days to give everybody a chance. So it's a $25 Amazon gift card. So email me at practicalpreppodcast@gmail.com. And in the title of the body, just put, hey, pick me, gift card giveaway, something to let me know that the email is about the gift card giveaway. Probably in the next couple of days, if we don't lose power, I'll get back on, record a podcast, random number generator thingy. I'll pick a winner, and I'll email the winner a digital code and a $25 Amazon gift card. If you live in a foreign country, it will automatically convert the $25 US to your currency. So Practical Prep Podcast at gmail.com. Folks, please be careful. If you are in the path of this storm, be it just snow, ice, sleet, any combination of those above, this has the potential to be life-threatening. In fact, it will be a life-threatening storm for a lot of people. Looking at the ice map and how they rank the amount of ice, there's some sort of scale, the Fitzer-Pritzker scale or something to that effect. It's like 1 through 5, where 5 is catastrophic. And there are just a few towns or cities located within this catastrophic category. And according to their little scale, if you're part of that area that gets a catastrophic hit by the ice storm, the potential to lose power, potentially you could lose power for several weeks. Now, if you're in the 4s, that was like 1 through 5. Number 1 was, 12 to 24 hours. Number 2, 2 to 3 days. Number 3, up to a week. Number 4, up to 3 weeks. And in catastrophic, level 5 is good luck, you're on your own. You may never get power back at all. But unfortunately, there are folks that are in these level 4 and 5 zones. So folks, please be careful. Don't go driving around. Don't go out there looking at the snow and the ice unless you absolutely have to. Keep yourself warm. Keep your pets warm. The chickens are now in the garage. Mr. Rogers is curled up in his blanket in my K-van. And of course, Cannon, my indoor cat, he's just spoiled, so he doesn't have to worry about the cold weather. I do have hardwood floors, so when we do lose power, those floors are going to get cold. I'm as prepared as I'm going to get. I do have my Starlink hooked up. And the good thing about Starlink, this past week, they doubled the amount of data, but they kept the price. So I have like the roaming package, and it's 50 gigs for $50, and I can take it with me when I go camping and that sort of thing. Well, they just doubled it. So for $50, I get 100 gigs. That's kind of cool. So when I lose power, I could still run the Starlink, and the Starlink, the router runs about 75 watts. So it pulls about between 60 and 75 watts. And so we'll see when I get on the browser, we'll see how much power that thing pulls. But generator started right up yesterday, plugged in a propane cylinder, hit the electric start. After about 5 or 6 seconds, she fired right up. I'll probably put the generator in my shed in the backyard and then run extension cords. That way it keeps the noise down, and I don't have to worry about necessarily somebody coming to steal it. But I'll put it in the shed. Maybe I'll have to crack a window because it does have a CO detector on it. So it will automatically shut itself off when the CO levels get to, I guess, what it sees as a dangerous level in the event you're not venting it enough. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. That's the big winter storm update. They call it Fern, Winter Storm Fern. I think the Weather Channel started naming storms a few years ago. I have no idea. I guess for ratings, I don't know. I didn't think we had the name Fern. Doesn't sound very ominous, does it? It was like Nikolai or Rodrigo or Bertha or something like that. That's a winter storm, but Winter Storm Fern doesn't sound not a very strong name. Fern for a winter storm, I don't think it's a very strong name. I don't think many people get scared of a winter storm called Fern. Yeah, winter storm called Fern. I don't think anybody's going to be scared of that. We need a Rodrigo or a Bertha or an Olga. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, folks, thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. If the power doesn't go out, I will endeavor to get on and let you know what's going on here. If you guys have any questions, practicalpreppodcast@gmail.com. And everybody in the path of this storm, all the more reason, please be careful out there. Take care of one another. And until next time, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Common Sense Practical Prepper Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review.